T1 may have fallen in the most recent series against Gen.G, but in spite of this, in Game 2, Oner was able to put out a remarkably strong performance on his Jarvan, quickly snowballing the game from early on for T1 and putting the game firmly out of Gen.G's control. In this video, we're going to analyze the opening 15 minutes of the game and break down how and why Oner makes some of the decisions that he does and how those decisions benefit T1. Okay, so as a jungler, usually the very first thing you're going to do when you go into the game is you're going to take a look at the champions on your team and you're going to see what combos you have. And when I say combo, I just mean champions which you have a good interaction with. So in this case, we have Oner playing the Jarvan, and we've got Faker who's playing Ryze. Now, for anyone who doesn't know, this is a good combo because Jarvan struggles to hit abilities on people who are moving, and Ryze's kit can tell somebody basically to stop moving, right? So Jarvan gets that nice guaranteed EQ combo onto whoever Ryze has targeted. So this is a good combo for Ryze, and also he can go in on targets that Alistar has CC'd as well, right? So we can see those combos that are available for J4. And also we've got this MF combo too, right? Where if an immobile target, for example, the Jhin or the Annie, is inside of Jarvan ultimate, then they can't move. And if MF ulti is running, then they are unable to dodge it, right? But this is a combo which will come online at level 6, right? This is a combo which will come online at level 6. Okay. The second thing is you're going to look at matchups too. So you want to look at which matchups, if you can get them ahead, are going to be the most beneficial for the game, and where sort of the risks are for your team as well. So in this case, we already mentioned there's a good combo with Ryze, and Ryze is being pitched up against Annie. Now, this can potentially be a really volatile matchup because both of them are short range, so they have to get close to each other, and both of them have CC, right? Both Ryze and Annie have CC available. And we can also see the combo from Gen.G's side that Qiyana Annie is pretty deadly, and Ryze is going to have to get close to them. So I think this mid matchup is like number one most important this game. The second thing is the bot lane matchup. So we've got MF versus Jhin. Now these are two of the strongest laning AD carries in the game. Both of these champions are casters, and they're very powerful early on. And if one team is able to get their side ahead, then that's going to result in priority, which is going to result in control over the lane. Now, the second thing is that if each team can get their bot lane ahead, is that the support will be free to move, right? And if the support is free to move, then they can influence the mid lane matchup, and that'll mean that you can turn mid from a 3v2, from a 2v2 into a 3v2, or potentially just help your mid laner get bailed out, right? If you've got that support available and the matchup isn't going so well, then you can provide bailouts too. So I think this game, most important thing is going to be that mid lane matchup, and then also how the bot lane matchup interacts with that, right? Okay, so playing ahead, we can also have a quick look at the wards which are placed early on. So we can see that Faker has placed a ward up on this Raptor camp from Gen.G's side. It's actually in Fog of War, but I've just circled where it is on the minimap. Now, this ward is a really useful one because it gives information on which side of the map Qiyana is going to start on. Because, for example, if Qiyana does red into Krugs into Raptors, then T1's going to know she clears out those three camps first, and they know which side she starts on. But it'll also give information over where she goes after her Raptors, if she does her Raptors third, right? So if she goes into bottom side, then the T1 team will know where she's gone. So for Aatrox, that means that he's completely safe. And for mid-bot, they know which side of the map she's on. And the second thing is that it'll tell J4 if he's got threat on his top side camps, right? If he's going to get potentially invaded. So in a second, we'll see Qiyana start those top side Raptors. And then we'll see how T1 processes that information in order to make a decision. So she started her Raptors now, and T1 will know this. And then as of about now, J4 will know that Qiyana is going to be pathing down into bottom side. So this is where we're going to see Oner make his first big decision of the game, which is that he's going to gank bottom lane. Now this is a really risky gank, and it is going to pay off for him here, But the reason why this gank is so risky is because now you see Qiyana's clearing her camps, right? So Qiyana's going to kill 2 or 3 camps, I guess in this case 3 camps, during the time that Oner has committed to this gank. So this is risky because if this gank doesn't pay off, and to be honest, even when it does pay off, Qiyana ends up really, really ahead in tempo. And this means that now Oner's going to have to go back to base, and he's going to have to go and clear his 3 camps on top side of the map. And Qiyana's got all this time to make an attack or to do something, right? So we'll see now, Oner start to channel his base. And then after he comes out of base, he's going to have to spend a lot of time catching up and waiting for Qiyana to spend a lot of tempo on a big move. Now, we've mostly had Oner farming his camps and just looking to catch up. We can see that bot lane has actually gotten a little bit more ahead as well during the break. But for the most part, Oner's just been clearing his camps and biding his time. And now we'll see Qiyana commit her first action, where she's going to try and kill Aatrox on the bottom side of the map. And she trades her flash for this as well. But this is really huge, because Qiyana just showed which side of the map she's on. And now, as a jungler, when the enemy jungler shows themselves on the opposite side of the map to you, you can then start to evaluate what your options are on the cross map being the opposite side, right? So usually the options are like a dive on top lane. This is like the best thing because if you can get a dive off, then you can put the enemy team really behind on this side of the map. You can do a neutral objective like the Void Grubs in this case, or sometimes maybe there'll just be warding, right? And there's not really like a lot you can do, or you can just get some tempo. But in this case, we see that Oner is going to see a dive opportunity available. Now, crucially as well, when a jungler shows on one side of the map, this allows the mid lane prio to split, right? And what I mean by that is Faker now is super safe on this side. So Faker can walk up towards top side and assist with a dive because he knows that he has no threat, and so he doesn't get pushed back on mid, right? He's not going to get pushed back here. He can easily and safely walk up to top side. So now we'll see Oner going to set up this dive. He's going to come up into top side, and he's going to use that level 6 Jarvan combo that we talked about, where you can't get out of the MF ulti, and he's going to kill Ruler again. Faker's going to get chased out. We can actually see Annie use her flash in order to stop Faker's ulti, and Faker lives on very low HP here. But that Annie flash is down now, right? Which is going to prove really crucial on the next sequence. And then just to finish off the sequence, J4 is going to kill the crab, and I believe he's going to finish off the Void Grubs as well during the time that the other members of T1 go back to base. And for our next action, we'll see that Chovy is going to use that ultimate on Faker, and we will see from Qiyana that Qiyana is going to go up towards top side and try to dive Doran here. Actually, not try, successfully dive Doran here. But again, we're in that situation where Qiyana just showed herself. She showed herself on that top side of the map. And then J4 is going to say to himself, okay, I need to put some pressure down. And so he's immediately going to run to attack mid here, right? So we'll see now Oner going to go straight towards mid. Annie has no flash from before. She used her flash to stop Faker. And we'll just see a very clean combo come in where Oner is just going to use that J4 ulti, and they're going to kill Chovy. And so we see that Qiyana was able to get a kill on that side of the map, which is going to make her stronger, but it doesn't really like influence this matchup on top side a lot. And Oner was able to invest that time more wisely, where he's going to get that mid push, and then also the bot lane from T1 still has that push on bottom, right? So you've got a very oppressive situation building for the T1 team here. When we come back out of the replay, which just happened, we can see now at 11:50 that that oppressive situation is going to really come to fruition here for T1. There are no wards covering this bot side entrance from Gen.G, right? They've got a pink ward covering this top side entrance, but it's not really providing a lot of use, right? Because Annie's now sitting without flash. Faker still has his flash up, and so does Oner. Um, and as we mentioned, Annie is very short range, right? So what we'll see is we'll just see Oner run straight into this bush, and he's just going to kill Annie again. And unless Annie goes and sits under a tier 1 tower and does nothing, then she's always going to die to this, right? We'll just see here. Kill comes in. They don't even use their flashes, and Annie's going to kill the wave, but she's going to die here. And we can see the pressure coming in from T1, right? Where Annie just can't walk into mid at the moment, right? And Gen.G needs to try and take some control of this mid lane area again. And T1 knows this, right? T1 knows the importance of this mid lane area. So what we'll see from Oner now is that he's just going to clear his camps up on the top side of the map, because Faker's going to take a base now. So this is the perfect time for Oner to clear his camps. And then once Oner comes back out of base, once Faker comes back out of base, not Oner, sorry, we'll see them looking to combine again. So now Faker's running out of base towards mid lane, you can see on that minimap, and Oner is going to clear the pink ward up here, and he's going to help Faker to get a really, really deep push on mid again. Now, we can also see Alistar combining on this too. So we just saw him on screen, but on the minimap, Alistar's going to control that bot side entrance. So we have J4 on top side, Alistar controlling the top side entrance, and this is going to provide Faker with so much space to just get that deep push and then help T1 to control from mid into bottom side of the map. Okay, so let's see how it plays ahead. We'll see another attempt from T1 to kill Chovy, this time more aware. And then after the kill onto Chovy fails, this is where we'll see T1 trying to get some deep vision in. Now, this is actually a really creative play from Gen.G, because after you get the mid prio, T1 wants to go into that bottom side jungle, and they want to pressure so that MF can get the damage onto the bottom side tower, right? So this is like that, always that difficult part of the transition, where you want to go from having pressure on mid lane to then using that pressure to win something. And Gen.G is saying like, oh, okay, Leona spotted Alistar and Jarvan in the transition phase, so maybe we can get a damage on and kill Faker here. Now Faker obviously doesn't die, he gets out, but Leona with that fast track into mid and Annie with that ultimate, they are going to be able to get the kill. But the problem for Gen.G is just the huge investment, right? Because in order for this to happen, jungle and mid from Gen.G both had to go mid. And also, because jungle and mid are mid, Ruler is also rotated over mid because he doesn't feel safe down on the bottom side of the map, right? And he wants to contribute to this play. So now Gen.G has 4 members in this middle part of the map, right? And they've only killed Faker, and they'll maybe get a bit of damage on this tower. Meanwhile, MF is on that bottom side of the map on the minimap. We see her getting solo gold. We see her getting damage onto the tower, which, yeah, when we play it out, I think MF ends up killing this whole tower on this sequence, which is just an insane amount of gold for MF to go into. And then this will lead nicely into our last team fight for the game. The last thing we're going to look at is this fight which occurs at the 15-minute mark. Now, this fight is very decisive, and to be honest, it is the last time in the game that I think Gen.G has a really good chance to fight the game out. I think after this fight is lost, it'll be very, very challenging for Gen.G to get back into the game. So to start with, I want to take a look at the positioning, and especially from Oner. We see Oner positioned up on this top side of the map. He's close to Ryze, and we already mentioned that these two have a good combo together, where in the fight, if Ryze is able to stop somebody from moving, especially Qiyana, then J4 can get his combo off onto Qiyana, right? And the second thing is about the tank positioning too, because Keria is the other tank from the T1 team, and Keria is covering this entrance, right? So Keria can block the members coming in from this side, and then that means that Oner is able to cover anything which comes from top side, right? Like this Annie and this Qiyana. And J4's position is still flexible. If there's an opportunity on this side of the fight, then J4 can still move, and same thing here. And the final thing is how this influences Gumayusi, right? Because Gumayusi is very safe here. He can move in any direction that he wants to, and he's got protection available from from both sides, right? So Guma's position is super, super safe here, which is important when he's also very, very strong right now. Okay, so playing the start of the fight, we will see that Qiyana is going to go in, and we'll see that that combo is going to come through from Faker and Oner, and they are going to lock up and do a lot of damage to Qiyana here. Now, on the other side of the fight, it plays out how we mentioned before, where Carrier can successfully block Keen and Dura, and Gumayushi is going to use that space where he's super safe to move back into. Now, for Ruler, nobody on Gen.G is protecting him as well. So unless Duro shifts back over, then Ruler is going to get chased out by Doran here as well. So we can see the difference between both teams in how they've protected their AD carry, right? Since I think for T1, Goomer is stronger. So if both teams just protect their ADC, then it's more beneficial for T1, right? Okay. And then playing ahead a little bit, we'll see that combo go down, and then Oner's gonna flash himself out, and then we see exactly what happened. Doran getting chased on the one side, Gumayushi doing tons of damage, killing Leona, and now the fight is completely over, right? But yeah, we can see like how good the positioning was from Carrier and from Oner in order to make space for Guma. And so even though this fight just looks like kind of a wipe, we see that the reason this fight looks so easy is because of that setup. Okay, I'm going to finish the video there because I think the snowball is already complete and it's very, very difficult for Gen.G to come back. But as always, I want to say a big thank you to everyone for watching. I do have more content coming out on Patreon later this week, so if you're interested in that, you can check that out there. And as always, if you want to subscribe to the channel, I'd really appreciate it. Okay, thank you and see you next time.